followed with guest moderators such as Richard Guevara and Anthony Thomas from the Office of Family and Community Empowerment. Richard Guevara, he is our direct liaison for CEC 8. Couple of ground rules that I would like to cover is before the meeting begins, we want to remind you to please mute yourself whenever you are not speaking. And this is a public meeting and it is being recorded. And lastly, there will be a public comment session on our agenda tonight, and we will share logistics during that portion. We do have interpretation services tonight, and it is very importantly, we wish to announce that there are Spanish, Bengali, and Arabic interpreters here tonight working on separate lines. Our interpreters will now announce instructions with Spanish. We have Sandra Perez and Jaime Jared Avitia Lomeli. In Bengali, we have Matthew Halder and Muhammad Nurul Amin Noyon. And in Arabic, we have Hadir Alamir and Abir Rihi for our attendees who may wish to dial into these lines at this time. Spanish interpretation.
Buenas noches. Para interpretación en español, por favor marquen el 347-966-4114 e ingresen el PIN 264-746-42 símbolo numeral. Nuevamente, para interpretación en español, por favor marquen el 347-966-4114 e ingresen el PIN 264-746-42 símbolo numeral. Si quieres escuchar el audio en español, pero prefieren permanecer en esta sección de Zoom, para ver la audiencia en su computadora, por favor silencien la computadora y el volumen y marquen la línea de la conferencia en español en su teléfono. Una vez más, la línea de conferencia en español es 347-966-4114 e ingresen el PIN 264-746-42 símbolo numeral. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Bengali interpretation, please.
Thank you. শুভ সন্ধ্যা সবাইকে। আপনারা যদি বাংলায় এই মিটিংটা শুনতে চান তাহলে আপনাদের ফোন থেকে আপনারা ডায়াল করবেন 347-966-4114। আমি আবার বলতেছি, আপনারা যদি বাংলায় এই মিটিংটা শুনতে চান তাহলে আপনারা ডায়াল করবেন আপনাদের ফোন থেকে 347-966-4114 এবং ওই নাম্বারে ডায়াল করার পর আপনাদেরকে একটা পিন ডায়াল করতে হবে এবং পিন নাম্বারটা হচ্ছে 584-729-422#। আমি আবার বলতেছি, পিন নাম্বারটা হচ্ছে 584-729-422#। এবং আপনারা যদি জুমে এই মিটিংটা দেখতে চান এবং ফোনে শুনতে চান তাহলে দুইটাতেই আপনারা শুনতে পারবেন এবং দয়া করে আপনাদের জুম মিটিং এবং আপনাদের ফোন মিটিং দুইটা আপনারা মিউট করে রাখবেন। ধন্যবাদ। Thank you.
Thank you, Noyon. And Arabic interpretation, please.
للحصول على خدمة الترجمة الشفوية باللغة العربية رجاء الاتصال على رقم 347-966-4114. مرة أخرى رجاء الاتصال على رقم 347-966-4114 مع إدخال رمز 782-403-476 مع علامة الهاشتاج. مرة أخرى إدخال رمز 782-403-476 مع علامة الهاشتاج. الرجاء كتم الصوت والاستماع من الهاتف أو من جهاز الكمبيوتر، وفي نهاية الاجتماع سيكون في تعليقات رجاء وضع أي سؤال في خانة الدردشة مع الاتصال على رقم 347-966-4114 وإدخال رمز 782-403-476 مع علامة الهاشتاج. وشكرا. Thank you.
Thank you, Abir. Because we will have simultaneous interpretation all throughout this meeting, it is very important that everyone speaks slower than usual to allow the interpreters to keep up. If you are conducting a presentation, please make certain that you pause and allow our interpreters enough time to interpret your presentation. Please do not talk over anyone. And this is the agenda for tonight. We are jam-packed for the evening. So I would just like to reiterate ahead of time that let's please be mindful of our time slots as we have a lot of presenters tonight. Farah?
Okay, thank you so much, Arendida. Let me just put it out there that we're actually pretty good because CC2 had a 6-hour CC meeting, 6 hours. I was it 2 days ago. So just putting it out there. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, calling to order this meeting on Wednesday, the 15th of December, 2021 at 6:17 p.m. Again, our apologies for being tardy. Next slide, please. And can we have somebody do the pledge, please?
I pledge of allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic, for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, ladies. Nothing more beautiful than such an enthusiastic CEC. Love it. And I guess, well, we're doing now the roll call. Thank you, Gina.
Yes. Roll call for attendance, Crystal Brockington is absent. Latoya Coleman.
Present.
Sandra De Jesus.
I could have sworn I seen Crystal's name on the list of people in the meeting.
Oh, I didn't see that. Crystal, are you present?
I am present.
Oh, got it. Okay, thank you. So I have Latoya. Do I have Sandra De Jesus?
Here.
Okay,
Present.
thank you. Farah Despain.
Present.
Lourdes Jafode.
Here.
Sabrina Rocchio. She's absent. Aurora Ronza. Aurora.
Present.
Thank you. And I am present, Gina Staton. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 present. We have quorum.
Thank you, Gina. Okay, and now we'll introduce our council members just so you can match faces with names. Although, you know, on Zoom you can. So this is Farah, the president. That's me there. And Lourdes Jafode, first VP and Borough President appointee, Chair of the Youth Committee and Co-Chair of Special Education Committee. And next we have Latoya Coleman, second Vice VP, IEP Rep, Chair of Anti-Bullying Domestic Violence Committee, Co-Chair of Parent and Community Empowerment Committee. Next we have Sandra De Jesus, our Treasurer. We have Gina Staton, our recording secretary and the chair of the Mental Health Committee. We have Crystal Brockington, the CC8 council member, but she does a whole lot more than that. And then we have Sabrina Rocchio, a member and the chair of the Special Education Committee. And of course, Aurora Ronda, another BP appointee and chair of the Social Media Committee, co-chair of the Parent and Community Engagement Committee, and co-chair of Anti-Bullying and Domestic Violence Committee. Okay, and so now that will bring us, I guess, to the resolution. We have 2 resolutions going on tonight. One
You forgot
concerns-
me?
I'm sorry.
Sandra.
Yeah, I introduced you as the treasurer. I would never forget you.
We have minutes to approve
Never.
before the resolution.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. You know my eyesight. Thank you. So we have approval of the minutes for November 22nd.
Okay, so for approval of the November 22nd minutes, Crystal Brockington.
Who motioned it?
Oh, sorry, guys.
Motion to approve
guess
minutes
I
from the
motion it. Oh.
November 22nd meeting.
Second.
I second.
Okay, so now for the approval of the minutes to vote, Crystal Brockington,
I approve.
Latoya Coleman,
Yes.
Sandra De Jesus,
Yes.
Farah Despine,
Yes.
Lourdes Jabot,
Abstain, I was absent.
Sabrina Rocchio is absent. Aurora Ronda
Approve.
and Gina Staten, I vote yes. So 1, 2, 3. So we have 6 yes, 1 abstain, and 1 absent. So the minutes are approved.
Thank you, Gina. And now we'll have the resolution to adjust CC 8 bylaws to include hybrid video conferencing as location. Gina, will you be reading for the resolution first?
Sure. Are we reading the whole thing? Because it's actually pretty long.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, just asking. Thank you. Is it on a slide?
Because of the length, it's not on a slide. I noticed that you had sent an updated version. So
Yeah.
you have the updated version. I don't have it on my desktop yet, so.
Okay, if you could just give me a minute.
Sure.
Okay, so this is the resolution in favor of the use of video conferencing to conduct meetings of the New York City Community Education Councils, citywide education councils, district leadership teams, and school leadership teams. Community Education Council District 8 would like to conduct its public meetings in a way which would allow any member to attend from a remote location via video conference and be counted for purposes of quorum voting and general attendance. Whereas Community Education Council District 8 is a New York City Education Council, and whereas New York City Education Councils, as per the New York Department of Education website, are subject to the following New York State laws and their relevant sections and subsections. The New York State Education Law, Article 52, subsection 2590. Public Officers Law, Article 6, subsection 84 through 90 regarding FOIL. Public Officers Law, Article 7, subsections 100 through 111, Open Meetings Law, like related to the Open Meetings Law. Law of General Construction, subsection 41 regarding quorum and majority. And whereas Public Officers Law, Article 7, subsection 102.1 defines a meeting as the official convening of a public body for the purpose of conducting public business, including the use of video conferencing for attendance and participation by the members of the public body. Whereas Public Officers Law, Article 7, subsection 102.2 defines a public body as any entity for which a quorum is required in order to conduct public business and which consists of 2 or more members performing a governmental function for the state or for any agency or department thereof, or for a public corporation as defined in section 66 of the general construction law or committee or subcommittee or other similar body of such public body. And whereas Public Officers Law, Article 7, subsection 102.3 defines an executive session as that portion of a meeting not open to the general public. And whereas Public Officers Law, Article 7, subsection 103 states a public body that uses video conferencing to conduct its meetings shall provide an opportunity to attend, listen, and observe at any such site at which a member participates. And whereas Public Law Article 7, subsection 104.4 states if video conferencing is used to conduct a meeting, the public notice for the meeting shall inform the public that video conferencing will be used, identify the locations for the meeting, and state that the public has the right to attend the meeting at any of the locations. And whereas Public Officers Law Article 7, subsection 109 states the Committee on Open Government created by paragraph A of subdivision 1 of section 89 of this chapter shall issue advisory opinions from time to time as in its discretion may be required to inform bodies, persons of the interpretations of the provisions of the Open Meetings Law. And whereas the New York State Committee on Open Government issued advisory opinion 5169 on September 12, 2011, in which Executive Director Robert J. Freeman stated, "It is our view that if all of the conditions described in the Open Meetings Law are met, Skype serves as a method of video conferencing that would be valid to comply with the Open Meetings Law." And whereas the New York State Committee on Open Government issued advisory opinion 05347 on June 3rd, 2013, in which Assistant Director Camille S. Jobin Davis stated, should a member video conference into a meeting from a remote location, the remote location must be open and accessible to the public. And whereas the New York State Committee on Open Government issued advisory opinion 05347 on January 31st, 2017, in which Executive Director Robert J. Freeman gave a lengthy and detailed opinion regarding remote attendance via video conference by members that were located in another town or state, while most members were located at the meeting's usual location. And whereas the New York State Committee on Open Government issued advisory opinion 5575 on March 6, 2018, in which the Assistant Director Kristen O'Neill stated, any restrictions on the right to attend and participate via video conferencing must be reasonable. Whereas New York State Committee on Open Government and issued advisory opinion 5639 on July 15th, 2021, in which Shoshana Boulay stated, in summary now, that Executive Order 202.1 is no longer in effect. The notice of any meeting held pursuant to the requirements of OML must again include the following when a public body is using video conferencing. That being a statement that video conferencing will be used, the exact location from which every member of the public body is participating, and a statement that the public body has the right to attend the meeting at any location from which a member of the public body is participating. Members of the public body who are participating by video conference also have the right to attend, participate, vote in executive session. Whereas the New York State Committee on Open Government issued an advisory opinion on July 29th, 2021, in which Shoshana Boulay stated, in summary, now that Executive Order 202.1 is no longer in effect, the meeting notice must again include the following when the public body is using video conference, a statement that the video conferencing will be used, the exact location from which every member of the public body is participating, and a statement that the public has the right to attend the meeting from any location via which a member of the public body is participating. Members of the public body who are participating by video conferencing also have the right to attend, participate, and vote in executive session. Whereas New York State Law of General Construction subsection 41 states whenever 3 or more public officers are given any power or authority, or 3 or more persons are charged with any public duty to be performed or exercised by them jointly or as a board in a similar body, a majority of the whole number of such persons or officers gathered together in the presence of each other or through the use of video conferencing at a meeting duly held at a time fixed by law or by any bylaw duly appointed by such board or body, or at the duly adjourned meeting of such meeting, or at any meeting duly held upon reasonable notice to all of them, shall constitute a quorum, and not less than a majority of the whole number may perform and exercise such power, authority, or duty. For the purpose of this provision, the words whole number shall be construed to mean the total number which the board, commission, body, or other group of persons or officers would have were there no vacancies or were none of the persons or officers disqualified from acting. And on August 4th, 2021, Community Education Council District 8 has received the following guidance from the Office of Family and Community Empowerment via email from Mr. Richard Guevara. A council must have at least 6 members participate in person, but a member can participate virtually and have their attendance count as well as vote, as long as the location that they are attending from is accessible to the public and notice on the agenda. Whereas on August 9th, 2021, Gina Staton, Recording Secretary of Community Education Council, submitted an inquiry to the Committee on Open Government and received a reply via email reiterating the advisory opinion of the committee issued on July 29, 2021, and further specifying the following. If all statutory requirements relating to video conferencing have been met, all members of the public body, regardless of location, count toward a quorum and may fully participate, which includes voting in the meeting. The open meetings law pertains to all public bodies, and there are no specific requirements relating to education councils. And whereas the guidance received by FACE is contradictory to the relevant aforementioned sections of the New York State Open Meetings Law and the New York State Law of General Construction, as well as the numerous opinions of the Committee on Open Government. Whereas the Office of Family and Community Empowerment does not have the authority to apply restrictions upon an education council based on its own independent and incorrect interpretations of the New York State law. Whereas the New York City Health Commissioner issued an order requiring COVID-19 vaccination for all visitors to any Department of Education site. And whereas many parents remain unvaccinated, and the order of the Health Commissioner prohibits these parents from participating in any in-person event held on Department of Education property, including but not limited to public meetings of the Community Education Council. And whereas Community Education Council District 8 is currently holding remote meetings in accordance with temporary legislation signed by Governor Hochul in September 2021, September 2021, allowing remote meetings for public bodies until January 15th, 2021. Whereas this resolution applies to the open meetings law as it exists in the absence of any temporary legislation and or executive order, and now that be it therefore resolved, the Community Education Council District 8 will conduct all future meetings with the option for any of its members to participate via video conference in accordance with the guidelines set forth by the New York State Open Meetings Law, and be it further resolved that any member participating in a public meeting of the Community Education Council District 8 via video conference shall be counted for the purposes of quorum, voting, and attendance, and be it further resolved that the Office of Family and Community Empowerment or any other person or group working on behalf of the Department of Education shall not restrict any community or citywide education council or any district or school leadership team from allowing its members to participate in public meetings via video conference in accordance with the New York State Open Meetings Law. And whereas the members of Community Education Council present at this meeting tonight are Farah Despain, Lourdes Chabot, Latoya Coleman, Sandra De Jesus, Gina Staton, Crystal Brockington, and Aurora Wanda.
Thank you, Gina. Motion, please, so we can vote.
Motion to accept,
Motion to accept the motions meeting. Open
I
meeting.
second. I'm sorry.
So it's been motion and seconded, so we have a vote to accept the resolution to adapt our bylaws to include video conferencing. Crystal Brockington, we're opening for the vote. Crystal Brockington, your vote?
Can you hear me now? I approve.
I hear you now. Okay, thank you. Latoya Coleman,
Yes.
Sandra De Jesus,
Yes.
Farah Despain,
Yes.
Lourdes Chabot,
approve.
Sabrina Rocchio is absent, Aurora Wanda,
Approve.
and Gina Staton. I vote yes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 yes and 1 absent. The resolution is passed.
Thank you so much. And the next resolution will be in support of the District 8 CEC 8 Health Fair as a collaboration between the district office and the CEC. Aurora, will you please read that for us? Thank you.
Resolution written December 15, 2021, Community Education Council District 8, resolution of support of the annual District 8 CEC 8 Health Fair. Whereas the CEC needs to work harder to help support some of the larger needs of our District 8 community, including needs in the area of health, and whereas the coronavirus pandemic is forcing us to pay renewed and intensive attention to the health of our children, families, community, educators, and whereas the CEC needs to continue to work on community visibility and community partnership, and whereas the CEC needs to continue to help create a rich, positive community environment in which our parents and students can thrive academically and socially, and whereas the CEC needs to address means of supporting our students and parents outside of the traditional classroom in ways that will impact the academic development of our children, and whereas the CEC understands how the health of our children and their parents affect the performance of our children in classrooms and the engagement, empowerment of our parents in their advocacy, and whereas CEC needs to encourage the involvement, engagement, empowerment, and full participation of our parents in supporting an equitable education of our children. Therefore, be it resolved that the CEC, District 8 CEC, will support and sponsor the annual District 8 CEC Health Fair. This event is scheduled for Wednesday, December 22nd, 2021 at Adelaide Stevenson High School field on Seward Avenue entrance between Pugsley and Stickball Boulevard from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The CEC support will include attending the event, engaging community partners to procure resources for the event, arranging the logistics for the event, and donation of up to $1,000 to obtain refreshments and necessary supplies for our attendees and invited guests.
I second.
Who motioned?
Latoya motioned, I'll
Oh.
second it.
So
Okay.
we're- for the vote to pass the resolution for the budget modification for the health fair on 12/22. Crystal Brockington,
I approve.
Latoya Coleman,
Yes.
Sandra De Jesus,
Yes.
Farah Despine,
Yes.
Lourdes Strabone,
Approve.
Sabrina Rocchio is absent, Aurora Ronda,
I'm a yes.
and Gina Staten. I vote yes. So we have 7 yes, 1 absent, and the resolution passes.
Thank you, Gina. Okay, next slide. Oh, yes, I guess it is time for my report. Thank you so much. Tonight, report. So again, thank you this evening for joining us. My report is the following. The CEC 8, in collaboration with New York City SEFT, sent incoming Mayor Adams and incoming Chancellor Banks a document of 72 pages that compiled many of our demands over the years and offered pages and pages of our vision for education in the coming years, and especially lobbying for the remote option and shared governance with parents. Declarations made by the incoming mayor and the chancellor show that they read and are listening. We have offered ourselves as advisors. To the CEC and the district office, as you just heard, have been working on the upcoming health fair on the 22nd. We hope lots of parents will attend. And tonight, the bulk of my report will concentrate on ACS being weaponized against parents, not only in District 8, but all over the city. But as you know, our business is in District 8. So it has come to the attention of the CEC that many parents in our district are receiving threats from ACS, and I've had ACS cases opened against them for not wanting to send their children to school due to COVID safety issues. This has happened during the holiday season, 1 or 2 days before Thanksgiving, even when these parents have submitted or attempted to submit their letter of intent to homeschool, and in spite of the DOE ACS joint guidance regarding education neglect. So tonight, parents, I want you to know your rights. And in addition, school staff, please guide parents through the process before you call ACS, and especially do not call ACS for educational neglect where none exist. Parents here, Anita, if you can put that up for us on the slide where we have the links for parents to find resources vis-a-vis on homeschooling in regards to on enrolling their children. I can't see the screen, so I'll just have to trust you that you will put it up. Parents, ACS defines educational neglect as involving the failure of a parent or caregiver to enroll a child of mandatory school age in school, or to provide appropriate homeschooling or needed special education training. This means that just not sending your children to a school building, whether your child is still enrolled in the school or does not constitute educational neglect. In accordance to the law, it is not educational neglect if you are educating your child at home through online resources such as Khan Academy or Time for Learning, for example. You may also create homeschooling pods with a tutor, or just parents individually or in groups educating their children by obtaining grade-appropriate online resources, or buying them or getting them from educators who are friends or allies of yours. Moreover, do not believe the hype that school is the only place to socialize your children. Your children socialize every day, that they engage with other children and other people when they travel, take educational trips to educational or cultural venues, when they partake in family events, and in the community events and when you just converse with them. If you are homeschooling, simply make sure that you are finding ways to engage your children socially, and please contact the CEC or NYCSF for homeschooling resources if more of you should want to homeschool with the increased cases of COVID in our schools. Principals, teachers, parent coordinators, counselors, school social workers. We know that you are mandated reporters and we appreciate it because some children do need to be rescued from serious abusive situations. But we beseech you not to weaponize ACS against parents to improve school attendance in the middle of a pandemic and get students and parents to conform. ACS is not a joke and wreaks havoc in families. Please read the joint DOE ACS guidance on educational neglect. Make sure a parent is not just unofficially homeschooling before declaring educational neglect. Ask to see what the children are doing academically. Ask to see and speak to the children and assess if any learning is taking place. Because when you call ACS, it is quite nasty. Parents receive a form letter that does not address educational neglect, but uses language such as the New York State statewide Central Register of Child Abuse and Maltreatment, SCR, has received a report expressing concern that you have maltreated a child or children in your family. And this agency must act to protect the children by addressing those concerns. This panics parents to a degree for which I have no words. First, how did a parent who is officially or unofficially homeschooling get an ACS case? Second, why would a parent who made it clear that he or she desires to officially or unofficially homeschool be accused of child abuse? Third, when did the desire to officially or unofficially homeschool or remove a child from the public school system become child abuse? And fourth, how is a school system that subjects children, staff, and parents to extreme anxiety in the middle of a pandemic with situations in schools that include the rise of COVID cases, violence, questionable academics, and stressful social circumstances not considered abusive towards children, educators, parents, and families? We have voice and video recordings in which ACS caseworkers can be heard threatening parents with the police if parents are uncomfortable allowing them into their homes in the middle of a pandemic. When questioned, ACS caseworkers admit that it is just a form letter that ACS always sends out. Really? The letter talks about an abuse of a grave nature, not possible educational neglect in the middle of a pandemic. How is ACS allowed to send regular form letters to parents accusing them of maltreatment of their children in the middle of this pandemic when parents are making it clear that they are not sending their children to school to protect them from COVID protection against COVID is now child abuse? Who is really abusing the children? When the children have been denied remote learning and any kind of academic support by the schools through Google Classrooms or basic assignments from the teachers, this after the DOE has accepted taxpayer money for their education and the parents have made it clear that they are not sending their children to school because they do not trust the schools to protect their children from COVID. Does the DOE and does ACS want to argue this in court? This becomes even more dangerous as one can witness firsthand how the system abuses poor parents. ACS caseworkers can be seen on camera intimidating parents by advising them that if they had ever received any type of government assistance, that ACS has their entire record and proceeded to name family members who have ever received any type of assistance along with their addresses and asking about those family members. It's an intimidation tactic. The message to poor parents is then very clear. You do not have the right to protect your children from COVID by homeschooling, because we can then threaten any kind of assistance you receive from the government. And we will go further than that, because we can now imperil any assistance that your family members receive. Wow. Talk about the abuse that this system inflicts on the poor and the voiceless. If it were a rich parent with a record of white-collar crimes, such as money laundering and tax fraud, would they pull out the rap sheet of that parent as they threaten educational neglect? Or would the family trip to Milan or Venice be perceived as an educational trip and an opportunity for unprecedented socialization for the children? In one particular case, I'm proud of this parent and of this child, as this parent was articulate and stood her ground. The child was very articulate, as the child can be seen on camera explaining why he or she asked he or her parents to stop sending him or her to school, because one, he or she is asthmatic and cannot breathe through the mask, because he or she is allergic to the mask and cannot wear it for too long, and because he or she does suffer from anxiety and would break down. But ACS and the DOE don't care about kids in situations like that. However, I'm certain it would be considered medically abusive if a parent did not pay attention to a child's anxiety, asthma, and allergies. But here, the DOE apparently does not consider it abusive to have a child who suffers to this degree in a classroom for 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, even though such condition almost guarantees that the child is not learning anything in that classroom because he or she is not physically and medically and mentally comfortable enough to do so. We have recordings and transcripts as parents are following exactly the procedure to fight back against abuses by ACS. Parents, know your rights. You do not have to open the door to ACS, and you do not have to speak to ACS. If they have a real case against you, let them go to court for a court-ordered conversation with you and entry into your home. Contact the CEC, NYC-CEF, your elected officials, the Bronx Defenders, the Bronx Legal Aid Services, and the media for help. In addition, we as a CEC, in collaboration with President's Council, NYC-CEF, and other parent organizations across the city, are prepared to take action to support parents. Many of us parent advocates spent Thanksgiving assisting distressed parents on ACS issues. Many of us also attended parent forums in which parents were asking that ACS be abolished. CEC 8 is not ready to go that far, but we do believe that we need to take a stand because this situation is really getting out of hand. So we will be doing the following. Number one, as a CEC, we will be viewing all videos of parents interacting with ACS with the permission of the parents, of course, to inform our action plan. Number two, we will be inviting the DOE and Bronx DOE officials to answer questions for our parents about how they decide which situations are worthy of an ACS case. Number three, we will be inviting ACS officials to explain to our parents their procedures during this pandemic, especially when a parent has made it clear that he or she is homeschooling and not sending a child to school as a COVID safety measure. Number four, we will hold a forum to explain to parents their rights when a school official threatens ACS action and when ACS comes knocking. Number five, we will write a resolution to support Senator Jabari's Brisport's bill mandating that ACS explain to parents their rights. Parents must know that they don't have to do anything with ACS unless court ordered. which will put the burden of plausibility on ACS and the mandated reporter, because no mandated reporter should leverage ACS against a parent for the purpose of bullying a parent. Too many of these mandated reporters don't know when they should really be calling ACS, because you know what? Calling ACS on a parent is not a boxing match. Number 6, we will lobby the state for real changes in policy so that ACS cannot be weaponized against parents, especially when they are poor and receiving government assistance. Because one of the biggest problems we have, excuse me for a minute. One of the biggest problems that we have is that too many government agencies are interacting in our schools when truly they should be helping our students, as opposed to, as opposed to truly helping them. Instead of helping them, they usually try to get the parents in more trouble. So as part of our resolution and what we are trying to do, we will definitely make sure that ACS mandated reporters who are calling ACS cases on families just because they want to, weaponize ACS because a parent, is not the most polite, or the child is not the most polite, or the most, the most stellar child, or because that parent is afraid of COVID, and because there are other situations in the home that makes it impossible to truly send the children to school. We will make sure that either there is a fine for those people because it's a false case, or disciplinary actions are taken against them at their jobs, and that the record follows them, just like a false case follows the parents for something like over 20 years. And if it goes that far, imprisonment should not be a problem, because you know what? A lot of our parents end up in trouble with the law because of a false ACS case for things that have nothing to do with ACS or child neglect. So that is my report for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Farah. Let me pull that up again. And so, oops. Next is the committee reports, announcements, and unfinished business.
Yes, any members want to report? I'm sorry, I can't see.
Well,
Sorry,
yes, Farah, this is Latoya. I just want to say that being the chair for, anti-bullying and domestic violence, I am working behind the scenes of getting someone to come talk to our district on a monthly basis, since we're having a high rate of violence throughout our communities. So if anyone knows of anyone that would love and come and talk to our communities, our schools, feel free to email CC8 and we'll be happy to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Latoya.
Okay, Gina, do you have any reports? Do you have a report, please?
So as far as this past month, I have been spending some time doing a little bit of research on how to get my committee up and running, and like some different resources I've been exploring, just because I would like to see the mental health committee, do some work. And I think it's really important at this time. But I would actually like to piggyback off of your report and just kind of add to it that the issue with ACS and being weaponized against parents and being used to push the DOE's agenda and to basically threaten and blackmail parents into complying with what the schools want them to do is definitely not a new issue. It's been going on decades before COVID. And I've personally seen situations where principals will outrightly say, you know, for example, if your kid doesn't come to school in uniform, we're going to do something that's going to make your life really difficult. Or if the kid, like you said, is not the most stellar or not the most, you know, the best behaved child, or instead of providing resources to those children, instead of trying to, you know, see what they can do maybe to help the child focus better in school or do better in school, or, you know, see if the child needs additional help, if maybe that child needs services. It's like, you know, they turn to the parent and say, like, you either get them to act right or we're going to do this. And it's disgusting. And unfortunately, I think that, if I'm not mistaken, educators have complete immunity against any of their actions. So they can literally call in, from what I understand, they can call in fake reports if they want to and get away with it 100%, and no repercussions come to them. So they use it to their advantage. And even now in the pandemic, like you said, I've seen where it can't be that some schools understand what's happening and some schools don't, where you have some principals, you know, threatening parents about attendance, and others, you know, and others are understanding of like the situation. So to me, there's something wrong there, but I like everything that you said, Farah, is just, it's so on point, and it's just so disgusting, and it needs to stop. And I'm kind of glad that, I'm not saying that glad it's happening, but I'm glad it's being brought to the light finally, because it's been a just completely disgusting situation ever since they were given that sort of like immunity to just use this however they want.
Thank you so much for that, Gina. And with now what we are doing as parent advocates across the city, that will stop, because there should be consequences for false cases. Aurora, would you like to give a report, please?
I've been busy working on my parent and community engagement committee by trying to procure things for the health fair and working with community leaders to get some stuff for the health fair. I also did a town hall with PS 72 the other day, very informational on safety and health protocols. I'm drawing a blank right now. I'm sorry, I'm not feeling that well. I know I made a lot of phone calls.
Thank you, Aurora. And we also know that you're reaching out to plenty of the elected officials to help us with the health fair.
That was done too.
Yes. Crystal, do you have a report for us, please?
At this time, I'm gonna say no, I don't. I don't have anything to say.
Thank you, Crystal. Lourdes, would you like to give a report, please? I do know that Lourdes might have stepped away for a situation. So I will move on to Sandra. Sandra, would you like to give a report, please?
Madam President.
I'm sorry, Lourdes, what did you say?
No reports, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. Sandra, would you like to give a report, please?
I've basically been doing the same thing, working with elected officials for our health wellness day, and doing a lot of things for our youth. And I mean, I have a list of things I can say, but I'm just gonna say we had a harvest at Biswa where we fed all the kids from 6th grade to 12th grade for Thanksgiving, which was awesome. We had a lot of parent power. We've been doing a lot with, I've been doing a lot helping out with the seniors. They get pantries. We give out food every Tuesday for the families. Working with Richie Torres for seniors and people from the community community that need help with birth certificates and different papers that they need from Puerto Rico. I worked with him and the governor of Puerto Rico so that they were able to get papers that were lost during Hurricane Maria so that they can have an identity here in New York. And basically doing a lot with the YCOs and the NCOs to get youth and the children involved in sports with the police officers. And them talking about a lot of bullying and anti-bullying. So basically that's about it.
Thank you so much, Sandra. And you have to help me out there into the next slide, please. So you know my eyesight there into that. Go right ahead. Please.
Not a worry. So we have a parent community email blast that we send out whenever we get emails into the CEC inbox. And so if you wish to receive our communication, you can use that QR code with your smartphone, and it will take you directly to the forms that we have to register and to then manually input you into our distribution list. If not, you can always click onto the tiny URL to be added to our distribution list. As well as if you would like to volunteer within one of our many committees within CEC 8, you can always email us at cec8@schools.nyc.gov. You can volunteer with social media, youth, anti-bullying, domestic violence, special education, PACE, aka parent and community empowerment, and mental health. Farah, this is all you. You're on mute. Farah, you're on mute.
Sorry. That's classic. I'm sorry. Thank you so much, Arindita. I can't see, but I will say this much. If you want to get in touch with NYCSEF, the New York City Coalition for Educating Parents Together, the Bronx chapter, you can email me directly at Farah, FARAHD at ceftnyc.org. And you can also email info@ceftnyc.org. We are here to support you, and we work with all the other parent advocacy groups across the city and other CECs, because our goal is to make parent engagement and parent empowerment a real thing, no matter how much the DOE wants to oppose it. But we, the parents, we have the power. We can make it a real thing. Thank you.
Thank you. And as many know that we have a committee of 8 ladies, we do have 3 vacancies available. And so we want to let you know that you may apply today. We are QR friendly. So again, with your smartphone, you could go ahead and scan that and include your name, your number, your email, as well as the school that you're affiliated with your child. So then we can have you and send you an application, so you may be able to fill it out and email it forward to the appropriate address that's included on the application. But we are also available for an ELL parent. If you know of anybody who's interested, who can advocate for that, for the English language learners, please do so. That is important. We do have many languages within our district that other than English. As you see, we have 3 interpreters on this call, interpretation services on this call. So we do want to be inclusive as much as possible. And our one and only in-person event for the year, we will be having next Wednesday, December 22nd from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Adlai Stevens High School field at the Seaward Avenue entrance between Pugsley Avenue and Stickball Boulevard. we will be having a food pantry giveaway. We do have participations from the 43rd Precinct Domestic Violence Unit, as well as the UFT book giveaway. This is a collaboration between CEC-8 and District 8 office, and we are excited because we want to allow everybody to have a good time, and to also be mindful that in trying times we can still be smart and have fun at the same time and just enjoy. This is a holiday, and so we want to make sure that everybody is feeling good about themselves and feeling good about the community. We have thermometer giveaway as well by Kinsa Fluency, as well as a vaccination test and vaccine testing and booster shots that will be given during that day by NYCHH. We will have a bus, and I believe it's a pink bus. One of the running elects, I believe his name is Matt Cruz from Community Board 10. He was most gracious enough to be able to get that for us. And so they will be parked outside from 8 in the morning until 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So we will be at the heart of it. If you are interested during that time, please come do so. We also have participation from the Montefiore Einstein from the hospital. So this is exciting. We have much more that's going to be coming. Unfortunately, we don't have as much space that we would like to implement for everybody who may participate, but we do have more to come. We are weeks away. If you are a school that would like to participate, please email the district office to Vanessa Ruiz, as well as to Silvia Hernandez, to see if you have a school that would like to have a little performance, like a 10-minute performance of sorts, or if you would like to participate in any other way, you can always reach out to us as well. And we are looking for our student volunteer. So if you know of any senior in one of the high schools, please have them email Superintendent Joint or the CEC-8 inbox, so we may be able to send you an application over and we can get that going.
Thank you, Arendita. Me and my eyesight, but I know at this point it should be the superintendent's turn. So Superintendent Joint, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who's here tonight on the CC call. We appreciate you being part of our meeting tonight. Thank you to all the principals and the assistant principals, parent coordinators, and teachers that I see here tonight. I appreciate you taking time, more time out of your day to be with us. Your time is valuable, so thank you for joining the CEC tonight. Let me share my screen. And can we see my screen, Arendita? Or someone, can you tell me if you could see?
No, not yet, Superintendent.
All right, let's try it.
Now it's up.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Give me 1 second. All right, so our State of the District for December 2021. As always, going back to our 5-year strategic plan for the district, thinking about ensuring equity and excellence for all D8 students, with an ultimate goal of all students reading on grade level by the end of 2nd grade. And so our theory of action in District 8, as you've heard me talk about before, is around literacy, starting with our littlest learners, 3K, pre-K through 2nd grade, and really focusing on teaching them how to read, print concepts, phonemic awareness, and phonics. That translates to our yearly goals around improving outcomes in ELA and math by 10%, and decreasing the students that are performing at level 1 with a special focus on our marginalized populations. Thinking about our use of multi-tiered systems of support, integrating both the response to interventions and PBIS into all that we do in District 8 with the goal of decreasing suspensions, referrals, and having an increase in attendance and achievement across the district. We engage with the Office of Equity around developing our equity lens in District 8 with a particular focus on culturally responsive and sustaining education, and thinking about how we're employing SEL measures into our school to create that welcoming and affirming environment, and using the data that just came from our DESA screener that was finished about 2 weeks ago. And so around the district in District 8, be kind and work. No, I did that again. Work hard and be kind awards, but I typed it be kind and work hard. I've done that twice already, but we get it. We work hard and we're kind in District 8. Last month was middle school awards, and we recognize students, staff, parents for all that they do in District 8. Here are our visits to our 15 middle schools around the district, and the various folks that received the awards. It was really exciting to see the reactions as we hit the streets, and members of the whole District 8 community, from security guards to parents, were part of this event. Early Childhood Town Hall on December 2nd, Dr. Raz and company hosted, in partnership with the Office of Early Childhood, they presented a town hall. Hopefully many of you were there. This was for the parents of our littlest learners. And Dr. Raz and company walked parents through the day in the life of a pre-K and 3K student. It was well attended, as again, our theory of action is around starting with our littlest learners and thinking about how we integrate literacy in those classrooms at that early age. District 8 also recently hosted our middle school fair last week. Thank you to Vanessa, Sylvia, and Darlene from the D8 team. Our awesome middle school principals and APs and staff led this fair. They allowed parents of 5th graders to get a glimpse into our amazing middle schools ahead of the application time. It was recorded. It can be found on our D8 website, and the dates for middle school applications were just released. And so be on the lookout for the application. CC8 and CEC8 and D8 Health and Wellness Fair. We've heard about this several times on the call. Be there December 22nd, 10 to 2. And you heard about all the exciting things that'll be there from Erendira. A lot of hard work was put in, and we appreciate the partnership between CC and D8 on this event. And I also want to remind you guys, and I will put the flyer in the chat, that Dr. Goldie Mohammed will be back with our parents for 2 workshops around equity. Mark your calendars, January 6th and May 10th, to discuss where we are in District 8 around equity and access, thinking about Dr. Mohammed's framework and thinking of culturally responsive and historically responsive literacy, again, all in line with our framework, our theory of action around literacy in District 8. And that is it for me. So I turn it back to the CC and Erendira. Thanks again for being here.
Always appreciative of you, Superintendent.
Yes, we are.
Thank you,
Next
Janet,
slide.
for joining.
Yes, we do love our superintendent. And
Next, we have one
yes.
of our 3 presenters. We have Iris. She is going to present the program that Miss Gina Staten has brought to our attention as one of the presenters. Catherine, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Great.
Do I have access to share my screen? Because if not, I can just present without it.
Yeah. Let's adjust you real quick.
You do have capabilities at this time.
Okay. And I am on my phone device, although my phone is like standing on my computer. So I will be presenting from my phone, and I do apologize in advance if it's a little small. I'll try to zoom in as possible. And while it's loading, I do want to go ahead and just introduce myself. My name is Catherine Campbell. I am the Community Program Director of I Raise Girls and Boys International Organization. Not only am I a Community Program Director, but I am a mother of 5 wonderful children, from the oldest being the age 16 and the youngest being age 9 months. So I am a very busy woman. I am a wife to a wonderful husband of mine who's very supportive. So as Farah was speaking, I understand a lot of what you were saying and just the frustration behind ACS being utilized as a weapon, because it was utilized in the past against me. So that kind of resonated something in me. And thank you for just pointing that out. I'm going to just go ahead and jump into who we are. So I Raise Girls and Boys International. We are a nonprofit organization, and we're dedicated in providing holistic programs that enhances the social emotional well-being to youth ages 4 to 19. I'm very big on quotes. So I found this quote online by Kristen Johnson, and it said, "Community is the foundation to success." And I truly believe community is truly a foundation to success, because it truly takes a village to raise a child. It takes resources. It takes other people, other parents, other organizations that you can truly pull from, get ideas, get resources. And that's why we are here, I Raise Community Department. So I want to jump right into our community program services. One of the services that we do offer here with I Raise Girls and Boys International is our Virtue Academy. Our Virtue Academy is a program that provides group-based instructions to students 4 to 19 years old. Our Virtue Academy runs from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Our target audience are people who have been affected by remote learning, people who are homeschooling. So if you are a homeschooling parent, this program is for you. It's a free program that provides group-based instructions. We provide educational and extracurricular activities to youth. And then I want to jump right into some of the classes that we offer. We offer theater. We offer dance, we offer STEM, we offer fitness, art, and a study group. And in our fitness portion, we do have yoga, Zumba, and karate. And our STEM portion, we do have Girls Who Code, STEM Lab, computer science, game design. And for our dance, we do offer contemporary dance, modern, and ballet dance. Art, DIY, anime, comic book drawing. And then we have our study groups where we offer ELA, creative writing, sciences, and read out loud for children ages 5 to 8. This is some of many of our pictures that I just put together in the slide. These are some of the students that we work with. These are our wonderful instructors who labor with our students. Not only that, but who has a genuine love to see our students do better. Not only do they provide group-based instruction, but they provide a group that is inclusive, a group that is safe, a group that allows a student to open up. So it is an amazing thing. It's truly amazing. And at the end of the year, we always do a showcase where we showcase all the kids' talents and gifts and things that they just learned during the program. So that's a little bit of our Virtue Academy. Now we have a portion where I like to call it setting a foundation for children to truly succeed. So we have partnered with colleges and universities in the United States. Some of many colleges that we have partnered with is Columbia University, Hunter College, NYU. And we partner with these organizations to obtain passionate students that are empowered to give back to their communities by providing one-on-one mentoring and tutoring services. We provide each mentor tutor with training and effective practices of tutoring, learning theories and styles, learning disabilities, social-emotional learning, therapeutic crisis intervention, and all volunteers that we do have a part of our program undergo background checks. Another thing that I want to point out is that our tutoring program is a free program. Our mentoring program is also a free program for youth ages 4 to 18. And this is the virtue portion. We do have in person, but I'm speaking today of virtue. So our one-on-one mentoring, how to get access to mentoring and tutoring for your child. Parents will complete an application online. Once that parent complete an application, an IRA staff member will complete a case intake. During a case intake, we assess the child's most immediate needs to go over child's educational demographics. During this stage, students will be provided with the IRA's email address. And then the next stage is services would take place through Google Classrooms. That IRA's email address, we will put that IRA's email address into the child's classroom so they can have access to meet their new mentor, their new tutor, or their virtual classes. The child will be matched. The staff member will assist in creating a service plan for children and a mentor/tutor. So each child will have a service plan that's geared towards their needs, that's geared towards their learning styles, their study habits. So our mentors and our tutors will come and ask you questions about your child's study habits or learning styles. And if you don't know your child's study habits or learning styles, this is why we train our professionals. This is why we train our volunteers. We train them so that they can pick up these skills, they can utilize and implement it when they provide services to your child. And here is some photos. This is not many, but we have over 150 students that are matched with mentors and tutors in our virtual academy. I try to put what I can fit on the screen. And we have some matches here with the mentor and the mentee, the tutee and the tutee. And I just wanted to showcase some of our kids and some of our volunteers who are just always so happy and excited to take part of something that's just so big. And then we have our Generation Z program. Our Generation Z program is a program designed to empower under-resourced high school students, grades 10 to 12, to unlock their inner potential while gaining access to careers by providing virtual curriculum-based introductory college courses and job readiness training. So at the end of their classes, they are given a diploma with a cap and gown. The duration of the classes is 4 months, and then there's 1 month for job readiness training. Each child will be paired with a mentor. Each student will be paired with a mentor, and that mentor will help them in their field of study. And we're going to kind of get into some of the fields of their studies. So our program is grounded and providing a curriculum-based course to ambitious students while embodying an online undergraduate level experience. We support and prepare students for the high school to college transition. In addition, students will study alongside like-minded peers while exploring a typical college experience. Our core components of Gen Z includes intro to law, introduction to med, introduction to political science is why I put PS. And we have the Entrepreneurship Academy. The Entrepreneurship Academy does give out scholarships. So whoever graduate on top of their class, they get like a $500 scholarship, $1,500 scholarship. So it depends. And then we have the See Her Be Her program, which is our newly launched program. Our See Her Be Her program is for Black girls. It's for Afro Latinas. It's for minority youth. It's for Indian, Black, whoever consider themselves a youth of color. So we provide a 90-day one-on-one coaching / mentorship. We cultivate a new image of what it means to be a Black girl or a Black woman through mentorship that transform you from the inside out. We encourage our girls to take a deep look into the stereotypes that may have been imposed on them through the mainstream society. And that sometimes that our youth will often internalize. Our goal is to encourage youth to recognize their strengths, their skills, and utilize them. Not only that, but to cultivate their gifts and dare our young Black girls to dream. We address intergenerational trauma, low self-esteem, and identity issues. We teach etiquettes and Black excellence and what that looks like. We also have a parenting program. Our parent program has a parent podcast that is called Parent Rise, the voice of I-Raise parents. We do offer workshops for our parents. We have budgeting and finances. We have enhancing family unity, understanding child development, setting boundaries with children, enhancing children's self-esteem, limiting the use of internet, video games, and cell phones, parent involvement, and child education. We also have parent support groups that meet weekly, and these are for parents who are really struggling, and these are for parents who just need support in general. These are for parents who have been a victim of trauma or a victim of domestic violence or need some parenting tips. These are people who have just a different, that probably want to come in and have a support of other parents guiding them. So we also have our Parenting Through Journey classes. Our Parenting Through Journey classes teaches us about homeschool. It teaches us about the child's lifespan, human growth and development. It teaches about nutrition and fitness. It also teaches us about tidy homes and what that looked like, budgeting, finances, etc. And then I have a portion for Meet Our Staff. These are some of our staff in the community department. We have Ms. Shaniqua E. Moore, who is the founder and the CEO. She's like the heartbeat of I-Raise. We have Ms. Letitia Stewart, who is our executive director. Myself, I am Catherine S. Campbell, the community director. And then we have Miss Tanny Moore. I couldn't find a picture of her. My apologies. She is the community program manager. And then we have Miss Priscilla Prince, who is also the parent educator. And these are our people that are in leadership in a community department. We have so much more other staff in the community department, as well as the school department. Our upcoming projects, we have partnered with Children's Aid Society for the beautification project. So we will be doing a beautification and community service project. We target under-resourced neighborhoods and communities. We clean the parks, the sidewalks, remove graffiti, paint murals, and plant nearby gardens. We also have youth who is in need of community service hours that provide group-based mentoring to youth 7 to 12 years age. The mentorship is centered around arts, so painting and creative arts, drawing, as well as gardening. They're teaching them how to garden and teaching them how teaching them about arts. The target audience for the group-based mentoring is students who may be struggling with aggression or maybe struggling with a disability, whether it's behavioral, whether it's physical. So whoever is struggling with that disability or just have been struggling, that program is specifically for them, that mentorship portion of the program. And then I have a list of our partner organizations, which is Harlem Dowling, Children's Village, Astor Services, Good Shepherd Services, Mount Sinai, and Children's Aid Society. I have a portion where you can visit our website, if you want more information. I can also put the website inside of the chat, and then I will go ahead and put my email just in case you guys want to contact me. I am available, and I make myself available as much as I possibly can. Thank you for having me, and please be on the lookout. Follow us on social media. We need to get our followers up. So follow us. We're on Instagram at iRaise Inc. We are on Facebook as iRaise Girls and Boys International, and LinkedIn as iRaise Girls and Boys International as well. So that's just my small presentation. I want to say thank you so much for having me, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope that your families and the parents can bring something, or just feel the energy and feel the atmosphere that we set with iRaise.
Great. Thank you so much, Catherine. Really appreciate that. Anyone who has questions, please hold it at the end during our public session. Just bookmark it, but Catherine, don't log off, because I'm sure that somebody's going to have some type of follow-up for you. And next, we will be welcoming Combined Insurance, presented by Hortense Manbamon. Hortense, are you there?
Yes, good evening, and thanks for having me. I'm with Christopher Murray, my market director. He has the information, so he's going to be on talking to you guys right now. Thank you so much for having us. Go ahead, Chris.
Yes, yes, absolutely. How's everybody doing? Thank you for having us on tonight. I definitely appreciate the opportunity. So I'm going to try to also share our screen here. So hold on one second. All right, are we able to share the screen that we have?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay, just opened up. All right, you able to see that on there? Okay, so like I said, with what we're going to go into today is obviously with Combined Insurance. And like I said, with Combined, we've been around for 100 years. We actually started in 1919, so a little bit over 100 years at this point. And this is something we provide supplemental benefits. So I know that you guys, I'm sure, have health and certain other small benefits through work, but this is something that's there that's going to be able to plug any of those gaps and deal with a lot of the things that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, dealing with deductibles, co-payments. If you're out of work, being able to go ahead and cover that time, because especially after going through the pandemic, people's savings, things are depleted more than ever. And this is, a way to be able to make sure that you're able to have that money when you need it the most. I mean, no one ever thinks of getting sick or hurt, but it's a true reality, and obviously just even going through the pandemic, seeing how many people got sick, lost family members, and we're just in a situation where, having that additional money coming can make a really big difference, especially people with families and children. And, this is something where we're able to offer these type of benefits, which we're going to walk through with you in just a second, that are going to be available, for members of the organization. And also, like you said, it's something that we can do directly, through work or on an individual basis. So this is something that the reason this is so fantastic of what we do, we're not limited in any way. And this is something that's available for all the people that we deal with, as well as, like I said, the principals, as well as teachers, everybody else, and their spouses and children also have benefits available as well. So like I said, I'm just going to go through some of the things that we have here. And with the coverages, they're broken down into different areas. One is going to be the accident champion, that deals with accidents 24 hours a day, for any reason. If you are hurt, whether it's on or off the job, this is something that's going to pay significant benefits, that you would be there to take care of any of those deductibles, co-payments, anything up and above what you already have dealing with your health insurance. And then also there's disability income. We all know and understand what that is, time out of work, whether it's for an illness or an accident. Both of those are a true reality at any time. We're on the go, whether it's driving a car, walking down the block, or even just dealing with a sickness. But time out of work, that's, we all understand and know, especially if you're out already on disability from the job, we're not talking about $1 million here. So all the income you can get is going to help you on top of any of the benefits you currently have. And these can pay out, depending on the type that we have, as low as 3 months all the way up to 5 years. So it's really depending on the budget of the person and what they're looking to protect. And then also we have our critical illness champion. This is something that pays out. I'm going to go through in a little while the different types of medical illnesses that this would pay out for. And this is a policy that pays out up to 3 separate times. So it's unlike a lot of other critical illness policies that are available out there that just pay once and then they would go away. This is something that can pay out 3 different benefits for the full maximum face value of the policy. And then also, our life insurance. This is something where you can get up to $250,000 of coverage, for an individual, an employee through the school, as well as their spouse and their children have benefits available as well. And this is an interest-bearing life insurance, so you're never going to pay more money into it than you would get out of it. So, like I said, Hortense is the representative, of that would be dealing directly with you. So I'm sure any of the questions we'll have at the end will go through. But like I said, I'm just going to go through the main important parts that we have here, for each one of these, these great plans. So with the Accident Champion, this is something that's available, to all the members here, and this is going to be able to deliver those benefits to help you, to protect all of the employees. And what it does, even just for using the coverage, we pay $100 up front just to encourage you to be able to make your claims, because we understand that Combined and these type of businesses are going to be based on that relationship with you as the end user. And we want to make sure that you understand that this is something that's fast. And as soon as, you have an accident, you submit in that paperwork, you initially, before they even look at anything, for the first time you file a claim, you're instantly paid $100 right up front. Also, we have the rehabilitation package, because we all understand it's impossible for people to always stay in the hospital until they're fully recovered. So Combined's robust policies are going to pay for the admission and the confinement in a rehabilitation center, but also on top of that, for the recovery at home. So it's going to pay you for each individual part of what you're dealing with. Now, with the Accident Champion, the great part is this is guaranteed coverage and it can't be canceled as long as the premiums are paid. And this is also the portability. So if you get promoted, you go to a different district, you decide you want to move to Florida, whatever the situation is, these are benefits that are able to go with you. So you'd be able to get it through work and have group rates, but you can also be able to move on into your future, whether that's also in retirement, moving away, but these are benefits that are yours to keep. And it's also the HSA compatible. That's meaning that the accident benefits don't disqualify you or any employees for having a health savings account. And, just some of the initial eligibility, so you understand the insureds, they're actively employed at least 17 hours a week. Obviously, I know you guys are all full-time employees here, but also 18 years of age and up are able to get that. So whether it's, new people that you're bringing aboard or obviously senior members of the staff, everybody is able to qualify. And you only have to be a member for at least 90 days. So as long as you started and you've been employed for more than 90 days, you'd be able to qualify for the benefits. And the spouse is considered a legal married spouse, domestic partner, or a civil union partner. And like I said, children also, a lot of other benefits are going to be only until things are 18, 21. We're able to add children as soon as they're born, all the way up until they're 26 years old to be added to the policy. And they'd be able to have that coverage, like I said, until they're 30 as a child, and then they can convert it onto their own. And you do not need to be a student. There's a lot of caveats to many other businesses and policies that use these, not with us. It said as long as they're just your child on the policy, they're able to get it. All right. And, there's several different types and levels of coverage. There's 3 different levels of coverage that we have here. But just some of the benefits that are included as well as the emergency room, urgent care. And even if you go just to your regular doctor visit, you're going to get paid for each one of those. And like I said, also, this is going to be for hospital admission, ICU benefits, and also for days of recovery. Okay. Now, in terms of the benefits that are available, these are going to be, we'll speak to you on an individual basis, but those are going to be tailored to each person. And the only things, again, that will be excluded will be personally self-inflicted injuries or obviously if it was something that happened in committing a crime, driving, under the influence or something. But all other circumstances, whether it's on the job or off the job, would be covered 100%. All right, and disability income, this is probably one of the most important, because this is going to be able to cover you for a length of time that you are going to be out of work. And like I said, we have policies that start as small as a 3-month period on the short term, but can go up to 5 years of coverage, if you need to have that extended amount of coverage. So this is something that's going to be tailored to each person. All right, and this is designed to pay, your employees more. This is going to be in addition to any other disability that you might already have. So I'm sure, that's something that's offered through the district. There's going to be certain levels of coverage that you may have, whether it's just through New York State or, like I said, through the district itself. But this would pay on top of that as well. And it would work alongside of those benefits to really maximize the income that you would have while you are out. And, also it gives you that flexibility, to be able to look at all the different types. Like I said, there's several different levels for each person. That's what Hortense would be sitting and going over with you. And also the income replacement benefits that are there are going to be, like I told you, due to illness, injury, organ donation, and pregnancy is covered, and also complications of pregnancy. So that's something I know that is a big deal to people, but this is for us. Maternity is also covered as well. And even partial disability, even if your employee is not totally disabled, partial disability benefits are available, as well, to help transition people going back to work. So this is going to be paid whether you're fully out, whether it's partial, or it's, like I said, it's injury, sickness, whatever the circumstances. Like right here, you can even see we're covering for injuries, sicknesses, organ donation, mental or nervous disorders, substance abuse, pregnancy, and complications are all covered under partial disability as well. All right, and just to know just a couple quick facts about this, the coverage is renewable up until 72. So, you can start this out at 18 years old and keep this throughout your entire career. And then up until retirement age, and at 72 years old, you'd be able to keep this coverage there. Like I told you, it's fully portable. No matter what, you change jobs, change locations, to be able to stay with you. And then also you pick, what the premium amount is. So that's something that you're able to work with, depending on your level of coverage. And like I said, to initially qualify, just to be able to take the coverage, this is from 18 up to 69 years old are able to apply. And as long as you're working 30 or more hours a week and have been a part of the district for more than 90 days, you're able to go ahead and qualify there. All right. And, like I told you, the total disability, that would pay out the full amount that you have. And then also the partial disability, that's going to give you up to 50% of the benefits that you choose as well. And that's the partial disability, is meaning you're still transitioning, you're still going back to work, you're able to get back in the activities. You're just not fully signed off on by the doctor, and you'd still be able to collect up to 50% of the disability benefit. All right. And a lot of the other things here that this does work with, this is not going to interfere with other benefits that you already have, and this is going to give you also the integration where, the only thing that could affect it would be outside income from, like, if you are laid off unemployment, but any of the other factors here would not interject in any of those payments. And your total disability benefits, are going to be, they can't exceed 80% of your income for the total disability, but that is something that's going to be available to really, fill in any of the gaps that you have, up to 80% of what you're currently making, through your W-2. And just so we also have, because this is a group policy, this is something where you can get, they have income coverage that would be there that would be guaranteed. This is something where you don't have to, on a guaranteed level or below, you won't even have to answer the medical questions. And you can also tailor this, up to the full maximum benefit. And there's only at the most 5 medical questions that they would ask. There's no health screening. There's no medical visit. There's nothing that you don't have to do a phlebotomist, have to come in or weigh anybody. This is something that's all just questions that are asked, and it's simple, just express issue questions. All right. And for us, when you're dealing with the disability, this coverage is available 24 hours a day. So whether you get hurt on or off the job, you're covered there, and it's going to be there for the benefit period from, like I said, up to 6 months, up to 5 years, depending on the coverage that's there. And, also for partial disability, we told you that 50%, mental and nervous disorders are also covered at 50% as well. All right, so these are the type of benefits that you have that are available. And even one of the biggest ones here is pre-existing conditions are also fully covered after 12 months. If you had a disability already that you were transitioning into, they'd be covered from day one. And even if you were just starting this, a brand new policy without having anything before, still, pre-existing conditions would all be covered 100%, whether they were from an accident or from a sickness. They would all, after the first year, they would all be covered 100%. All right, and also organ donation is covered as well, for disability reasons. Okay, and when we're going in, another one of the policies also that we utilize that's, ours is different than any other one in the industry, because this one pays out 3 separate times. Most times if people have a critical illness or cancer policy, once someone has an incident, pays out once and that's it. With us, because also we're offering this to such a large group of people, this is something that lump sum can be 3 separate times, And what they do, they have the critical illness benefits cover for a benign brain tumor, cancer, coma, heart attack, or obviously dealing with a stroke. So any of those major events, it would pay up and pay the full benefit of the, like I said, of the policy. But if the next one did occur, like I said, if someone had a tumor and then all of a sudden a year later, God forbid, had to go through cancer, and then down the road, 5 years, had a heart attack, it would stay in place and pay out for each and every one of those events. So that makes us completely different than most other companies, because they would just pay one time and that's it, the policy would stop. This is something that's there to cover you. So people that were prone to medical issues, had things in the family history, this is a phenomenal policy to make sure you're truly covered when you need it the most. All right. And we also, besides any of the other things happening, you're also paid on a yearly basis if you just go ahead and utilize the coverage for wellness visits. We know now more than ever it's important for people to get to the doctor, to be tested. And this is, as long as you had the policy for at least 90 days, this would also cover you for doing things that are going to help, doctors detect anything, whether it's a pap smear, mammogram, PSA, blood tests, whatever it is, this would
Hi,
pay
Mr.
you out
Murray.
every single year. Yes.
Thank you. Time. And I had hoped that you would have been more educational in terms of what's out there to help parents in financial distress, and not so much a promotion. But I think we went a little sideways, but that's okay. Parents understand that. For parents in distress, they understand that you are a resource out there that can help them, among other resources. I'm afraid I have to cut you short because we have another presentation, and we are way, it's almost 8 o'clock. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you, Madam President. Ms. Arendida, if we can go ahead and move the agenda.
Mr. Murray needs to stop sharing his screen. One more presentation, guys, one more. But this is our School Construction Authority. We will be presented by Nicole Holloway. So thank you, Ms. Holloway. Appreciate you for that patience.
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nicole Holloway, and I'm the External Affairs Manager for the Bronx from SCA. I'm joined by our director, our new director, Mr. Zishan Ott. I believe he is in the audience. I'm going to start sharing my screen.
Ms. Holloway, can I get that name again? This way, if necessary, we can promote your colleague.
Sure, it's Zishan Ott.
He's the last name on the list, Richard.
Thank you very much. Your colleague is now promoted, this panelist as
Great.
well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for allowing me to present to you tonight. I'll be walking you through the 5-year capital plan that covers fiscal years 2020 to 2024. I'm going to present the December 2021 proposed amendments. So for those of you who don't know, the School Construction Authority's mission is to design and construct safe and attractive and environmentally sound public schools for children throughout the many communities of New York City. We're dedicated to building and modernizing schools in a responsible, cost-effective manner while achieving the highest standards of excellence in safety, quality, and integrity. So at tonight's meeting, I'm going to give you a general overview of the 5-year capital plan. I'm going to talk through some of the proposed amendments, and then at the end, I will take your input and comments. So capital plan and its projects. So the capital plan is broken down into 3 different programs. You have capacity, which adds new school seats, and that comes in at $9.8 billion. You have capital investment. Those are the projects that bring the existing public schools back to a good standing. And then we have, and it's $7.2 billion in that program. And then we have mandated programs such as the lighting fixture replacements, and that comes in at $3.5 billion. So SCA citywide highlights. So $8.4 billion for over 60,000 new seats in fulfillment of the mayor's commitment to reduce overcrowding as well as advance equity. $1.4 billion in support of early learning, 3K and pre-K for all initiatives. $750 million to make 50% of elementary school buildings partially or fully accessible, and 1/3 of all buildings fully accessible. $261 million for electrical work to support air conditioning in all classrooms by the end of 2021. A little over $1 billion for technology enhancement, and then $352 million to allow for TCU removals, putting this plan at $20.6 billion. So capacity projects. So new capacity, we are looking to put 45,883 new seats for a total of $6.3 billion. Replacement program, 7,080 seats coming in at a little over $1 billion. Class size reduction, providing 4,750 seats for $750 million. And then capacity to remove TCUs, 2,220 seats coming in at $302 million, and then early education coming in at $1.4 billion. So new schools in the 5-year plan. So right now, District 8 is sited, and we are actively in construction, removing the TCUs from the PS 138 school. And then after that portion, that first phase of work is done, we'll be moving on to constructing a brand new addition that is scheduled to open in September of 24, and it will provide 500 new school seats to District 8. So just to give you an idea, this is PS 138 on at 2060 Lafayette Avenue. And again, that addition will open in September of 24. Again, capital investment projects in the 5-year plan. So capital investment projects, the SEA performs major capital improvement work in existing school buildings in addition to new schools. This work includes projects such as masonry repair, window and roof replacements, new boilers, HVAC systems, new fire alarms, public address systems, electrical upgrades, and repair major plumbing issues within our public schools, as well as the removal of TCUs and playground rehabilitation. We work closely along with the Division of School Facilities, which you may know as DSF, which include custodial engineers, plant managers, Facility directors, DSF central staff is responsible for the day-to-day maintenance and repair of school buildings. And if something is too much in cost or they can't fix it, then they will refer it to us. Our agencies are separate. However, we do work alongside one another. And I'm not sure if I have any representatives from DSF in the audience, but it would be nice if you just let us know you're there. So how does something become a capital project in the SEA's 5-year capital plan? So there's 4 basic ways that a project comes to our attention, and we would look at it to design and then fix the issue. So one is the Building Condition Assessment Survey. This survey is found on the DOE's website, and basically you would just go to find a school, put in the X, followed by the 3-digit building ID, not the school ID, the building ID. These BCAS surveys are done once a year, and it surveys everything within the interior of the school as well as the exterior of the school, and they get a rating of a 1 through 5. Anything that's rated at a condition of 1 is generally in good condition, 2, good condition, 3, not so much, and then 4 and 5 are the projects that we look at. Next is problems reported to the DOE's Division of School Facilities and emergency issues. So there are some times that, like I explained to you before, there are some things that pop up. The custodian can't handle it. They escalate it to their supervisor, who is the DDF for the building, who works for DSF, and they will try to repair it. If not, they will call us. Sometimes those projects come to us as emergency projects, and sometimes they just come as projects that desperately need to be addressed in a public school. Next, there's funding from elected officials. These are funding from local New York City council members, borough presidents, state elected officials. They also provide funding for you to have work done in your schools, and these are typically known as RESO-A projects. And then you have your citywide initiatives. These are mayoral and city council initiatives, such as physical education for all and the air conditioning program. So now let's take a look at District 8. So right now, District 8 has in process or soon to be completed 66 capital investment projects for a total of a little over $131 million. Some of the big categories are the electrical systems with 15 projects, student toilet upgrades, flood elimination, exterior masonry. I'm not going to go through them all, but if you go through your plan, you will be able to go specifically to the Bronx and then go through your district's projects. So these are some of the past capital improvement projects we've completed in District 8. As you all know, last year was a rather hard time for everyone in the world, at least let alone us here in New York City. A lot of our projects were on hold for the majority of the year under the governor's pause order. A lot of those jobs didn't come back online until end of 2020, beginning of 2021. So here's a look at the Stevenson High School TCU removal and playground update job that we completed. PS 36, we did exterior masonry, parapets, I believe some flood elimination, as well as this building got a standalone elevator. So that's something else we're doing in an attempt to make our public schools fully accessible. Here's PS 48. We also did a full accessibility elevator in this building as well. And when we do that, we also do upgrades to the bathrooms to make sure they're fully accessible, as well as there's a way for people with disabilities to access the public assembly areas and get around in the building. So funding from elected officials. So District 8, RESO-A projects or Resolution A projects coming in at a total of 192 projects. 164 of those projects are technology, 13 auditorium upgrades, 1 electrical, 4 library, 8 playgrounds, for a total of $28 million. And just here's some examples of some of the work we've done on reservoir projects. This was at Lehman High School, and this is a library upgrade. So next we have information about our Minority Women and Local Business Enterprise Program. So the SEA is dedicated to increasing participation of minority-owned, women-owned, and locally based business enterprises, also known as MWLBE, on SEA projects, including through MWLBE targets on our projects. We also run a mentor program which provides key support and access to capital and business opportunities for qualified emerging minority women in local business enterprises. And we did share some literature on that with the council, and you can always reach out to me for further information. So these MWLBE participation and mentor programs. In fiscal year 21 citywide, the SEA awarded $558 million in prime MWLBE contracts across 409 projects to 128 firms. In this district, SEA has 51 million, a little bit over, closer to 52 million in active MWLBE contracts across 44 projects to 29 firms this fiscal year. And in fiscal year 21, the SEA Mentor Program awarded 81 million, a little bit over, actually closer to 82, in MWLBE contracts across 249 projects to 93 firms. So CEC requests, as you all know, every year we ask all community education districts to take a look at the schools in their district and decide on projects that they would want to have completed. The best way to do this is not just by talking to your principals, but reaching out to the custodians, checking in with the DDF first before you submit something on your list, because it is limited to 5 projects per district. But again, you want to make sure that there's not a project already in process or one about to come online. Just to let you know, in District 8, I'm currently wrapping up a couple of projects. Some of them are PS 119 TCU removal, as well as the boiler conversion project. IS 125 had a boiler conversion. PS 304, another boiler conversion. IS 302, flood elimination. PS 182, exterior masonry. The X 120 building, exterior masonry. And these projects are in the process of wrapping up and should be completed by early 2022. These are projects that would have been completed this year, but again, because of the pause last year, they were on hold for quite some time. Other active projects, IS 101, roof and window repairs, IS 302, another job, PA replacement, PS 14, we are wrapping up the main building exterior masonry and bringing that building up to conditions that similarly match the new addition that just opened up a couple of years ago. Jane Addams High School, we're going to be starting the TCU removal program project. IS 424, exterior masonry. And this is just some of the active work I have going on in District 8. So again, CCs, you have a voice in requesting the projects you want to see done. Each year, we ask that you fill out a form indicating priority projects and schools in your district. We ask that you prioritize your top 5 projects, because those are the ones that will be reviewed first. Remember that the SEA does major capital renovations only, right? So we don't do small maintenance. That will be DSF. Please carefully consider whether these projects are that you're prioritizing are capital eligible. If you need further information on what makes a project capital eligible versus something that will go to DSF, or that's something the school should apply for reservoir, please, again, feel free to reach out to us. Everyday repairs in schools, principals should request repairs from their custodians and DSF. And capital projects must provide permanent enhancements to the building with a lifespan of at least 5 years and a minimum cost of $50,000. So here is your CEC building comment form, which you have received already, and you will basically just fill it in. Now, I do understand the deadline is January 14th. We are a little over a week away from the Christmas and New Year's break. But again, please reach out to the custodians, talk to the principals, talk to DSF. If you need to, you can also reach out to me and I could kind of help you go through the plan. And then again, thank you. My name is Nicole Holloway, and I'm the External Affairs Manager for the Bronx. Here's my contact information. If you need more information on applying for or estimates on how much a Reso-8 project in a school will cost, you can reach out to Bianca Almadina. She is our Reso-8 Senior Management Specialist. And again, this has been the capital plan amendments, the December amendments for 2021. And I thank you all for allowing me to present.
Thank you so much, Ms. Holloway. Where are we having to do? What's the? I'm sorry.
Just waiting until she stops sharing her screen.
Okay.
Amazing.
Okay. Are there any questions?
I'm actually, before going into questions for you, I'm just going to open it up to the floor for everyone. So it could, that's why I had put you originally at towards the end, because I know that it was going to be very fresh and this type of information was going to be a lot to absorb and to really take in.
Okay.
So we are now going into a public participation. That has a wrong date, sorry. Sorry, moving the screen. We will take questions and comments from participants who joined via computer in the Zoom room. Please press the hand icon on the bottom of your screen to be recognized at the time, or type your name and the word "speak" in the chat box. When your name is called, please repeat your first and last name before beginning your comment or question. I'm going to go ahead and read it all through, and then we will go ahead and go in order from Zoom. Then we will take questions and comments from participants in the interpretations room. We will allow for a pause so that our colleagues from FACE may collect the names of Spanish, Bengali, and Arabic-speaking participants who wish to speak. There will be a long pause, and we appreciate your patience. This will allow our interpreters time to organize the questions. And then lastly, after all that, if you have called in using a phone only, we will call out the last 4 digits of your phone number and will manually unmute your line to allow you to say yes or no if you would like to ask a question. If you do wish to speak, please state your first and last name slowly before beginning your comment. So we will go ahead and do the Zoom room.
So, Ms. Erendira, at this time, I see member Lourdes Jabot has her hand up. Right after member Lourdes Jabot, we'll follow up with one of our attendees who also has their hand raised, and that would be Angela Torres. So as of now, those are the two.
Thank you, Richard. My name is Lourdes Jabot, and I'm the borough appointee and Vice President 1. And Nicole, the question is in regards to, the first question is in regards to the 43,000 new seats or something that you spoke about.
Mm-hmm.
Are they combined seats of public schools and charter schools, or are they just public school seats that we're talking about?
Public school seats. We don't count charter school seats.
Okay, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That is awesome. The next question is in regards to the air conditioners you spoke about.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happened to that? I mean, every school was supposed to get air conditioners, yet just a few, and there were priorities on certain schools, and then it's like everything got forgotten.
Okay, so great question. So let me just explain to you how the mayor's initiative for classroom air conditioning worked. SCA typically, we don't do window air conditioning units. What we did do was the electrical work. So that meant one of a couple of things. If a building already had power in the building, as well as 220 amp outlets in their classrooms, that project didn't even come to SCA. It went straight to DSF. DSF would have come to the building. They would have assessed all of the classroom spaces as well as the size. They would have ordered those window air conditioning units. They would have come in and installed those units. Next coming to SCA was a building has power in the building. However, their classrooms didn't have 220 watt outlets to plug those air conditioners in. Those projects came to us. Those projects, smaller scale, were handled by our mentor contractors, where they went into the building. We basically ran power up from the basement of the building through the floors, and we actually installed the outlets. SCA was never doing the window units. We were doing the electrical work for the window units. Then there was some cases in some schools where the building didn't have the power in it at all to even run those outlets up to the classrooms. We did that work. That was in coordination with the power company, be it Con Edison, where we had to bring power in from the street to the school building to be able to run it up to those classrooms. Again, SCA. So again, if a building already had 220 watt outlets in their classrooms, those projects went straight to DSF. SCA was never the entity that was doing those window air conditioning units. Our support came in terms of the power the building had. I hope that answers your question. And if you want to know where the building is at in terms of their air conditioner, the best person to find out is from the custodian, or again, you have my contact information. If you want to know where your building is at, in terms of that, you can reach out to me. But I do believe we have met our commitment of doing all of the electrical work in the school buildings. Yes, I do have it. I only have 2 projects that are still getting electrical work, and I'm not sure if they're complete, but I think they are. And that's Stevenson Educational Campus was still in construction, probably more likely going through closeout. And then the only other building was IS 192. And for whatever reason, that project should be completed by December 31st of this year. I could reach out and find out more information. But again, I'm looking at my list, and there were a lot of buildings that didn't even have to come to SCA for electrical power. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. It kind of does. And the third question is in regards to architectural work. When they decide to do certain things, right? That, like for instance, let's take the example of the Stevenson campus, that area that you show so beautifully. I happen to be a parent at that school, and it's beautiful. It came out amazing. I mean, I can't say much more. Unfortunately, it's not very much used because in the summer it serves as an iron. And in the winter is very cold. So
Right.
it's beautiful. I mean, I don't know who was thinking about it, who had any input. Does the school community has any input in the architectural work? How is it gonna look? What, I mean, like before it actually starts, because metal seats, metal tables, I don't know what they were thinking.
Okay, so while we would love to have everyone in the community input on the design of our projects, it's really not that easy to do. All of the principals in that building were included in the design. They all signed off on it. They knew what they were getting. We are confined to only using certain vendors and certain materials that are what's considered to be DOE vetted. So I do understand what you're saying about the metal and the heat in the summer, as well as the cold in the winter. But again, the principals were included on that. Those design meetings, it was presented to them before we moved forward, and they were on board with it.
Thank you. That's wow. That amazes me. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Miss Erendira, at this time, your next caller, your next person who wishes to ask a question is Ms. Angela Torres. Ms. Torres, at this time, you're unmuted. You may ask your question.
Hello. I'm not sure if this is the correct time I wanted to ask. I really wanted to make more of a statement and it wasn't related with the buildings. Would now still be the right time for that?
I can only answer questions regarding construction and building new schools and additions in the public schools.
Yes, so Angela, you can still make a comment because, you know, it's you can ask questions or make comments.
Okay. So, because I know this is the time of public comment, so that's why I wanted to just make sure this was the perfect time. I just wanted to bring up the fact, I mean, I know that on CPAC and through the district, this has been a big deal. We have a lot of rising cases of COVID. A lot of parents are getting the letters, every week with additional cases. And there's a big concern now. And really, there's no understanding at this point of the situation room or of how many cases it will take to constitute closure. No clarity on what is widespread transmission. And so my comment is, I feel that this needs to be prioritized because we're watching things happen. And it's much like, unfortunately, early 2020, when we saw this happening and it was like a bad dream and we, wanted to wish it away. But I feel that now we have a lot more that we can do about it, a lot more that we know about this than what 2020 was. So I just want to elevate this point because a lot of the parents are watching these things happen and are very concerned. And we really want to have more information, more clarity on what this process is. And, actually, we'd like to have a remote option so that we don't even have to concern ourselves if the numbers get to a point where it's beyond a parent's comfort level. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Angela. And I think two things. We are in constant conversations, right, with the incoming mayor and the chancellor, because we are advocating really hard for the remote option. And secondly, we address the ACS situation tonight precisely because of what you're saying. If parents are getting scared and they are feeling, anxious and they don't want this to send their kids to school because cases are rising and we are not getting a remote option, then we need school staff to understand that fear and that decision so that our parents do not get any more ACS cases because they are choosing to keep their children home. So at this point, right, when people's lives are truly in danger, it's one of two things, right? We get a remote option, or parents choose to keep their children home if they want to, and we do not get that ACS retaliation because parents have the right to protect their kids and protect their families, period.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, the next person who had their hand raised is Member Latoya Coleman, then followed by Member Sandra De Jesus. Then we will pause and go to the interpretation lines.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This question is for Ms. Holloway. I just want to ask about the construction going on at PS 14, that with the windows, and now that, they're getting more student enrollment in, and they might have to switch from the third floor up to the fourth floor. The you know, it's supposed to be a 5-year plan and it went long to a 7-year plan. How is that going to transpire when they have to, you know, close down the 3rd floor, go to the 4th floor when some of the 4th floor needs to still be fixed, you know, because of the roof?
So basically, the project officer on that job, Abul Mayan, along with myself, the custodian, the principal, we meet regularly with the school to discuss upcoming work and what efforts we need coordination with in terms of after-school programming. The last thing we want to do is take an area of a building offline for use, right? But we also want to do construction in the safest way possible. So in a case like that, if and when we have to move, we would sit down, plan with, I believe it's Principal Shulman, right? If he's still there, and we would tell him what we need, what areas, and then they would relocate. Typically, we could work at night and then the school could still occupy some spaces in the daytime. I don't know the particulars going on at PS14 and what relocation and movement is necessary for us to complete our work. But again, it's something I could find out more information for you and kind of give you an idea of how it's done. But typically that's what we do. We coordinate with the school, the after school program, and then we shift. And again, yes, you are right. PS14's exterior masonry project to the existing building did get pushed out, right? Because sometimes we design a project and by the time we get there to do the actual work, we find other stuff wrong with the building. And we don't want to just leave it and only do what's in the scope. We want to ensure that when we're there, anything we encounter within the realm of what we're doing, we address. So that, along with the fact that that project was paused for a significant amount of time in 2020. And then when City Hall started to allow our projects to remobilize and restart back, all of our projects, all of our contractors had to now resubmit a site safety plan that included COVID safety measures, which took some time too. So again, I have that project. I believe it's supposed to end later, mid 2022, but I could get you a definite let me say this, a tentative substantial completion date, right? Because this is construction and anything can happen. I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I would love for you to get back to me. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, next question is Ms. Sandra De Jesus.
Hi, yes, this is for Ms. Holloway.
Sure.
I have a question and I would like to know, one of the schools, PS 140.
Okay.
One of the classrooms, one of the pre-K classrooms, the ceiling is falling. So is that a custodial issue or does that have to go through you guys?
So you actually hit it right. First, it would need to be reported to the custodian. The custodian would then try to address that situation at his level. If he or she can't address it at their level, they would escalate it to their deputy director of facilities. I believe District 8, Carmine Ferreira is most of District 8. It would get escalated to him. If DSF couldn't handle that situation, then it would be something that's reported to us. I don't have particular information on that school right now, but what I can do tomorrow is I could look into PS 140, reach out to the custodian, reach out to the DDF, find out what's been going on, and then I could also report back to the council with information on PS 140, that pre-K classroom with the falling ceiling. It's a chance it could be just plaster, chipping paint or something like that. In that case, it's on the custodian and DSF.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm happy to look into it and get more information and get back to you.
And second question, there's construction that's been going on in PS 75. I don't know what for, but it's been on. I understand because of the pandemic, they had to stop.
Right.
But I want to know what's going on with how long is it going to take? Because there's other issues they have as well.
So at PS 75, I'm just kind of glancing through my list right now. I don't see any, oh, yes. Yes, you are correct. We have a brand new project that just started at PS 75. It's alternate roofs, exterior masonry, window repair, parapets, flood elimination. It is a brand new project that just began August 2nd administratively. So there's a lot of permits our contractors need to pull and materials need to be ordered and site safety plan. That project literally just began and it's about to start mobilizing, and it's scheduled tentatively for substantial completion July of 24. So that building is getting an overhaul.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
You answered perfectly my questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Arendira, would you like to go to the interpretation lines now?
Sure, yeah. We can start with the Spanish line.
No questions on the Spanish line.
Thank you. And the Bangla line.
Yeah, there is none from Bangla line.
Thank you. And last but not least, the Arabic line.
No questions in the Arabic line.
Thank you. Then next would be any type of devices, correct?
That is correct, Ms. Arendira, and we do not see any phone or device or numbers present. So if there are no more hands raised, that should conclude your public speaking session at this time. I see a hand raise. Horton?
Hortense?
Yes.
Hi, I was just gonna ask, is the lady from iRaise still on? iRaise Sterling, did she leave?
It's Catherine Campbell.
Yes, did she leave?
I believe so.
Okay, well,
do
if
not
I
see
could
as a
get her
panelist.
information, if I could get her information.
Sure, I'll be
be
more
great.
than happy
Yeah.
to email it to you.
Thank you.
And now that concludes the public speaking session.
I motion to adjourn.
Second.
Gina?
Roll call, Gina.
Sorry, everybody. So motion to adjourn. A vote on the motion to adjourn. Crystal Brockington. Crystal, are you here? Okay, Latoya,
Yes.
Sandra De Jesus,
Yes.
Farah Jasmine,
Yes.
Lourdes Chabot,
Yes.
Sabrina Rocchio is absent. Aurora Rhonda,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So we have 6 yeses, and 2 absences. So we're adjourned at 8:35 p.m.
Okay, everybody have a good night.
Take care, everybody. Happy holidays.
Oh, wait a minute. We still have the working business meeting.
Take care.
Everyone
Happy
else can
holidays,
leave.
everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, you know, if you could stay with us a little bit longer, I guess if you're not a CC member, we understand. But now we'll have the call to order for the working business meeting.
And happy holidays to all who joined the meeting tonight.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you. We appreciate your patience with all the presenters. Our presenters, thank you very much for having to have shared the information to our community.
Okay, so a roll call for the working business meeting for December 15th, 2021. Crystal Brockinson is absent. Latoya Coleman is absent. Did she sign off?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. Sandra De Jesus.
Still here.
Farah Dismayne.
Still here.
Lourdes Chabot.
Here.
Sabrina Rocchio is absent. Aurora Ronda.
Present.
And I, Gina Staten, am present. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 members present and 2 absent.
Okay, thank you for that. So Richard, before we start the business meeting, I have a quick question for you. So let's say we don't have quorum, right? And then we have the motion to adjourn the meeting, but there's no quorum. Do we still just stay on?
No. We will gladly discontinue that meeting. So that's correct.
I'm sorry, that just occurred to me. I'm like, why do we need quorum to like end the meeting? But okay.
Good question, Madam President.
Thank you. So I'm now calling to order, right, this meeting, working business meeting at 8:37 p.m. So the discussion items, I guess the health fair, I don't know if we need to talk much about it since we did so much discussion on it, I guess, earlier. Upcoming CC events, any ideas for upcoming CC events? And perhaps tonight I really wanted to discuss how to streamline collaborations with District 8, meaning the Office of the Superintendent, and principals in our schools. So I'm open to ideas, and we do know it's the holidays and people, as we can tell, like they just like ready to go. So if we can discuss briefly and then we can end the night. Any ideas from us and from folks?
Lourdes, you have your hand up.
Who has the hand up? I can't see.
Lourdes.
Oh, Lourdes, please.
Yes, Erendida. Thank you, Erendida. And yes, Madam President, I do have, I wanted to say something before everybody jump into adjourning, but I have nothing to say on the topics that you just mentioned, but since I didn't have a chance before to speak because I was attending to other, I was multitasking, honestly. I wanted to have a chance. I wanted to know if I could have a chance to ask a question to our superintendent.
Well, absolutely. It's the working business. We can talk about whatever we want.
What's up?
Okay, so here's the thing, Superintendent Joyne. I mean, I understand procedures. I understand, and I want to start by saying that I understand procedures and I understand protocols. My question is in regards fire drills, right? Fire drills during the winter. I understand they have to take place because a certain amount have to take place during the time of before the end of the school, before the end of the year, from September to December, there's a certain amount that needs to take place and has to be done, period, right? But my thing is, and this is not happening just here, it's happening across everywhere. I'm hearing it, and I'm hearing it loud, right? students are coming out in the cold without jackets, and I understand it's a drill and they should be prepared to come out in case of an emergency, leaving everything behind, so on and so forth, right? But what is good for the goose is good for the gander, right? Because if our children, and during a pandemic that is so, that is rising and things are going on and all of that stuff is happening, right? If our children gotta go out there in the cold, stand for whatever amount of time there is that they need to stand outside until they're clear to come back in, right? Why is it that teachers are prepared to come out at the same time with their children's and their coats on their back, or our children are freezing to death outside?
Good question, Lourdes. I knew where you were going on that one once you were midway. I don't know, but you're so right, and that's so true. Yes, we have to complete a certain amount of drills, all kinds of drills. One is a fire drill. Yes, it's supposed to be impromptu where everyone leaves the building, but generally teachers and staff are aware. It may be on a morning announcement sheet, fire drill today at 1 o'clock or something like that. And so teachers have their coat in the classroom, they grab it and go outside. I'm sure administrators have their coat on. I was an offender when I was a principal, and I'm sure a teacher as well. It's a great question. And I really don't have a good answer for you. Particularly in the elementary school, they may be in a classroom where their coat's right there and they could grab their coat. I know when I was an elementary teacher, that's what happened. In middle schools and high schools, they typically don't have their coats at the ready because they're coming out of class where there aren't coats. But I don't have a better answer for you. You're right. But I can't give you anything more than that.
Yeah, because and I appreciate your transparency on this. It's just that like you said, if the ones in the middle schools, I could understand the ones in the middle schools and the ones in the high schools, they might have their coats in a locker room and they cannot go and get them because that will be jeopardizing the lives and the life of others, right? But I could see that the children, the ones that are in elementary schools, that they have to go out there with this COVID rising, to take children out in the cold in a group, okay, where they like literally one on top of each other because there's no social distancing, okay, to come out without a coat and keep them for a certain amount of, whether it's 5-10 minutes, they're still getting sick. Okay, and I cannot see it that an adult is wearing a jacket in their back and that our children are freezing through that whole time. I cannot see it. So something needs to be fixed. I'm sorry. Something needs to
I'll bring it up. I'll mention it because you are correct. Certainly. Thank you for bringing it up.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And on that same note, I actually have a question, I guess, for you, Jen, in that sense, because I don't know if principals or teachers are aware of what they are putting up on Twitter and stuff, but I have seen kids in line going from one room to the other, wherever they are going, no social distancing, no masks, and I have seen teachers lowering their masks below their chins to speak to their classes. And I am like, I can't believe this is happening. And I know for sure that I've read several articles where teachers spread the virus, right, by taking off their masks to read to the class, right? It happened, like it well documented, right? And in other circumstances as well. I am not understanding, and not just in District 8, but all over the city, kids, because supposedly the DOE was supposed to give a bunch of masks to all the schools, right? Why is it that we have kids with no masks on? And it's not a question of I can't breathe right now, so I lower it for a minute, right? They literally don't have anything on at all. And teachers are taking off their masks, or principals or whatever that it is, school staff, taking off their masks to speak to students.
Another good point. I'll have to look at what's on social media. I stay away from social media, so I don't have any of those accounts. Sylvia's my social media person. But I'm not surprised that people take pictures and don't realize the influences they have when they post things across all regards, but no one should be lowering their mask. Everyone should be wearing a mask. There should be no times that happen. Do I believe that there are times it happens? I'm sure it does.
All the pitches in the pudding. Jen.
Exactly, Aurora. So caught you, right? I just know when I go into schools, I always have a mask on. When I'm around folks in meetings and rooms, I make sure they have a mask on. And so we have to disrupt that by calling it out. If there's any school in particular where you're seeing the pictures on Twitter, you see it, when you go into classes or schools, please let me know and I'll address it.
Yeah, because half the
it
class
can't
didn't
happen.
have mask on.
Say which?
And half of the class didn't have mask on in the pictures. And, they were all little tiny kids. I think it was like a kindergarten
You'll have to
class.
text me what school that is, Aurora, so I could follow up, because they have to have masks on. Whether you're reading a story, you're having a conversation, whatever it is, you have to have a mask on.
I mean, Aurora, that is just happens to be one that I put, that, was put in the chat or what have you in some of our, parent group advocacy groups. But I have to tell you that, as parents, we have social media watch groups, like people who are specifically watching on social media what's happening in the schools, so that we can build our cases when we are advocating.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of it. It's not just that particular picture that recently or that we put in the chat, so that because that one was just so outrageous, right?
Yeah.
But plenty
And there were several
across the
pictures
district
too.
and across the city.
I believe
And
it,
then
but
they
if
want
there's-
parents to send their kids to school, and it's like, are you kidding me?
But if there's a particular school, please let me know and I'll address it. And I appreciate you bringing it up. I'm going to
Thank
have
you.
Sylvia scour our online feeds here.
Madam President, you also have a
Twitter.
member, Gina Staten, who has her hand raised as well.
Yes, go ahead, Gina. I'm sorry, I can't see the screen and who has their hands up. I'm sorry, so please.
No worries.
No worries. I actually had a question for Superintendent Joyner as well. Just basically repeating what Angela Torres asked earlier regarding what's going to happen with COVID protocol and the rising cases. And it's really starting to get scary when she said weekly, and it's more like daily that I'm getting like another, and and then I have my unvaccinated little one who gets really, really sick. And, I'm just curious if there's anything I know it's not completely up to you, but what have you heard? Is there anything new coming?
No, and I know we talked about this last night on the CCT. No, nothing. There's no mention of anything in terms of changes to the protocols. But as Farah and company mentioned, new mayor, new chancellor, January 1st. And I know there's advocacy around change. And so there could be change come the new year. But as of right now, with one more week in this school year, no one has mentioned anything. Angela's question around how many cases constitute a school closure. I'm not aware of a set number regarding that. And that's all handled through the Situation Room. Lourdes asked me yesterday, who is the Situation Room? And I said, I have no idea. So that was, that's my frank answer. I don't know who's answering the other end of the phone call. And then there's the test and trace unit. And so, that is out of my control. But Gina, I haven't heard anything. And sometimes you guys as parents, you hear before because it's on the news before I hear anything, or some union folks, folks that are in a union, which I am not here through their union. So I'm probably the last one to know. You'll have to let me know if they're doing something.
Thank you. So a follow up to that too. Is there anything that the schools what's in what is in the principal's capacity to implement in terms of maybe more thorough cleaning, more anything? Is there anything the schools can do or that you can do on a district level without, you know, going against the DOE protocol to make things
Yeah,
safe.
I think cleaning is within principal's, you know, realm, my realm, meaning if a principal feels that the building needs to be cleaned deeper, clean more, they have regular conversations with the custodians. We have great custodians in District 8. And so I would never hear a case where a principal or someone would make a request around more cleaning and a custodian to say no. And so I think that if that's something that's wanted or needed, that easily can happen. Realize they only have the products they have to clean, and they only have the manpower that they have to do the cleaning with. Many of our buildings are open late because we have, you know, beacon programs, CBO programs, community school programs. And so the cleaning happens after that. But I do know the custodians, you know, do as best as they can. Yes, we have masks to give out. We have gloves. And so that's all within the principal's jurisdiction. But anything in terms of if a positive case comes in, that's out of the principal's hands in terms of how that's handled. It's taken over by the Situation Room and the Test and Trace Corp.
Because I was also told by Test and Trace that when if they, for example, if my son was a close contact and they asked me, and he has symptoms, and they asked me who he was in contact with, and I said, well, he went to school. He went to school when he was coughing, and I had to pick him up. And they're like, okay, so nobody. And I said, wait, so Test and Trace doesn't tell the DOE or the school? He goes, no. He's like, we never contact schools. So that was like completely disturbing to me, because it's just like, so then if let's just say I said, oh, you know what, screw it, I'm going to send my kids to school anyway. Like the schools have no way of knowing. And it's just really, really scary, because like some parents are desperate for childcare. Like some parents don't have the luxury to stay home for a week.
Yeah.
And
no, you're 100% right, myself included. I mean, if my kid's sick, I do keep them home, but you're right. I don't have the liberty to just say I'm going to quarantine. So I understand that. Schools do have the ability to submit lists of who's in classrooms and who's in close proximity. If schools say, you know, kids are farther than 3 feet apart, schools do have that jurisdiction. But Test and Trace are really calling the folks that are positive, and like you say, they're not really interacting with the schools. It's the Situation Room that interacts with the schools, and particularly the school point person, principal, and it's the Test and Trace that contact all the outside folks. And so, like in that case, if your son was positive, or your son was went to school with the cough, they would then, the Situation Room would ask the school, what class is your child in, and then run that whole ATS report and determine who's in that class. It would be up to the schools to say the kids were 3 feet apart, they weren't 3 feet apart. If a kid's vaccinated and has no symptoms, they don't have to quarantine. So it is complicated, but they try to follow a science behind it. But you're right, people could just send their kids anyway and, hope for the best.
Okay.
And I'll warn everyone, I have to go in 2 minutes. So if any of the remaining hands are for me, I do have to jump off.
So there we go. We're going to ask questions to the superintendent. You heard first. She needs to leave. Sandra is next, then followed by Aurora, then followed by Lourdes. Let's go.
Well, the superintendent, she's gone already?
No, I'm looking right at you, Sandra.
She's still here.
Okay.
She's there. She's listening.
I have a question. Rather, I have 2 quick questions.
Sure.
When we send our children to school and we don't know that their teacher is not there. So during the whole week, she gets different teachers.
Yeah.
So that means that her curriculum is all thrown off.
Yep.
They're not getting the same thing. So it's confusing to her, just like it would be confusing for me as a 7-year-old.
Yep.
So I want to know what can be done about that? How can we help or do something about it?
Great question. We see a lot of attendance issues of staff in schools for the same reasons that were mentioned. Even adults worried about COVID. Maybe they were in close proximity. Maybe they have to quarantine. Maybe they're not feeling well. To Gina's point, maybe a staff member has to stay home because their child has to quarantine from a school. And we are seeing this across all D8 schools, and I know across the city. And yes, that's what happens, Sandra, when a different teacher is covering your child's class period after period, day after day, and everything is thrown off, and that's not good, right? What can we do? I don't know. And I was just talking to the executive superintendent about this. You know, how do we find more high quality teachers? How do we have extra teachers in schools that could do coverages where they'd be able to move forward with the curriculum if someone's absent? How do we have regular substitutes in the building so we're not pulling people off of different programs? But I don't think there's a really good answer. It's a good question. It's not a great answer because it is happening throughout the schools. Principals call me on a daily and just with the frustration about how to cover classes for the amount of folks that are absent.
Great
Okay,
question,
second
Sandra.
question.
Oh,
Real quick, second question. As far as being on a PA for 48, we have an office. The office has not been cleaned, sanitized, nothing at all. They've thrown the computers around. I mean, I've gone in there because I try to do like agendas and stuff for when we have our meetings. Computers are disconnected, phones disconnected. I asked the principal if he can get somebody to put it together.
What was the answer?
He never answered me back.
Okay, you'll get an answer. It'll be done. So I will make sure that's done. And let's hope it's done by Friday. Let's give tomorrow Thursday, and then I'll shoot you an email to let you know it's done. But I will handle that tonight. I'll send it out
Yes,
tonight.
because
but
I
it has to be done.
was in the office because I wanted to like print out some stuff, the agendas, the bylaws and stuff like that. And I can't do anything because nothing's connected. There were bags of clothes in there that were full of feces from mice and all of that.
All right, we're gonna clean that out.
I had to bag up everything and throw it out and put a sign on it. And there's still more stuff in there that I go in there early morning and I take stuff out of the office so that the custodian, he gave me bags so I could put them in. All he told
No,
me to do.
you shouldn't have to do that. It'll be handled. And the principal will know what room that is, right? If I just say the
Yes,
PA
he
room.
will.
Okay.
Yeah.
great,
Done.
Superintendent. Thank you. And Aurora,
Thank you.
you're closing us out.
I have an answer for the, I went to a town hall at PS 72 and Mr. McDowell said that the Situation Room informed him that it's 13 cases in 4 classrooms in 7 days in order for first school closure.
I don't know if that's fully 100% accurate because we have campuses, like Gina might be referring to a campus with multiple schools that could add up beyond that number and they wouldn't close. So I'm not so sure how hard and true they stick to that number. I've heard that number, but like on a Stevenson campus, as Lourdes is putting a comment in the chat, you know, each school could hit the, say, 11 mark. And that would be well over 13 cases with the amount of schools in Stevenson, and they wouldn't close the campus. So that's, I don't know if it's hard and true.
He kept reiterating 13 classes and 13 students in 4 classrooms.
I'll say we've had more than that in some buildings in District 8.
Yeah,
We've
I
not
know.
had one building closure. So he may have said it, it might have been written somewhere, but we are,
It has to be
that's
in a
not holding
7-day
true.
period, he said.
Yeah.
So if someone in between that period that comes off of it in that 7-day period, they don't count.
Gotcha.
This is what the Situation Room is doing,
Got it. So thank you,
which
Superintendent.
I think it's idiotic.
Yeah,
And now we're going back to Ms. Erendida to continue with the agenda.
okay. And I have to log off. Bye, everyone. Have an awesome night.
Happy holiday.
Have a good night.
Wow, thank you so much.
Have a good night, Superintendent. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So these were the original talking points, but if we don't really have much to elaborate as of yet, other than what we had just finished discussing, is it safe
Yeah.
to say that?
Yeah, Angela, I think we can continue these conversations on email and touching base meetings. And then when we have more, we'll come back to the public with more.
Beautiful.
Yes. Because Richard promised to Uber me dinner. So I want to let Richard and Vanessa and who else is there from the DOE, the translators, Anthony. I want to let them go so they can go make dinner and Uber me dinner.
Madam President, I can't confirm nor deny, but what I will say is this. I wanted to extend my apologies to the council because on our last touching base evening, we had an emergency where we were supporting a district and something that was going on. And so Anthony was there as well. We both channeled over, and that didn't permit us to have a touching base call. And I know how important they are and how we can have other conversations. So please accept my apologies for that. I will connect with Ms. Erendida so that we can go ahead and redo that touch base, because I know this, we need to connect. So I just wanted to say that publicly, right? This is being recorded in a live stream.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Richard, you just got to get us dinner, as Farah says. We'll be happy.
So I think I'm having a bad connection, members. It is now 9:00 p.m. 9 p.m. But I will say this. I'll turn it over to you guys.
Oh my God,
Thank you,
it's 9
Richard.
o'clock.
Apology accepted, and you never have to apologize.
I appreciate that, Madam President. Thank you for your
I did
understanding, and
relay your
council
message,
members.
Richard.
No, I know, council members. Thank you so much. You're so good. You guys are understanding, and you know I never do those things. So when that happens, there's a reason for it. So
Yes.
thank you.
Then well, that's what we know. So that's why when Richard is not there, we know something big happened. So
Thank you very much for understanding.
yes, thank you, Anthony. We know you're always there too. So
That is the man right there.
yes.
I motion to adjourn.
I second.
There you have it.
Voting on the adjournment, Crystal Brockington was absent. Latoya Coleman,
Yes.
Sandra De Jesus,
About to go eat.
Sarah Despain,
Yes.
Lord Road,
Yes.
Sabrina Rocchio is absent. Aurora Ronda,
Yes.
I vote yes. Gina Staton, we have 6 yeses, 2 absent. Meeting adjourned. Have a good night, everybody.
Everyone have a good night.
Yes, happy holidays. Happy New Year, filled with
Good night,
health,
everyone.
joy, and abundance.
Good night, everyone.
Desire.
I'll see some of
And
you
lots
next
of
Tuesday.
love from CEC8. We love you guys.
Interpreters, thank you. Anthony, always thank you for your support.
Yes.
Audience members, council members, district staff. Happy holidays. Ms. Erendida, great job once again. Have a good evening, everyone. In 3, 2, 1.